Take two.
Sir, you have submitted to the first committee of this Human Rights Conference a report on apartheid. I wonder if you could give us a very brief outline of this report.
Yes, the report is concerned with the condition of human rights in South Africa, Southwest Africa, and Southern Rhodesia. The basis of examination of law and practice in South Africa in the report is the Articles of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The documentation used in the preparation of the report, practically all the documentation is South African government's official publications, laws, regulations of the government of South Africa or Southern Rhodesia, prevailing in Southern Rhodesia or Southwest Africa. The study for each of the three territories starts out with an introductory chapter which deals with the system of government. Then it is concerned, there is a chapter on the rule of non-discrimination. What has been of main concern to me in the preparation of the report has not been the extent to which the law or practice in South Africa does not conform with the articles of the declaration, but rather the extent to which, no matter what law or rule or regulation the South African government has established, that law is applicable to all citizens, irrespective of race or color. So it is in fact a comparative study of the application of the international rule of non-discrimination. Unfortunately, although, as I said, the documentation is the official publications of the government, that one can't deny these facts, the situation looks very gloomy. And in fact, it draws up an ugly face of conditions to which the African majority, the Asian and the so-called coloreds have been forced to accept in their own countries. In particular, I may call attention to the question of freedom of movement and residence. As you know, 87% of the territory has been reserved for the European population, and it is only 13% of the territory in South Africa, 13% of the land which is not really the best of the land to be found, which is in the 13% you don't find any major mineral resources such as diamond, gold or coal. That is reserved for the African population. Their mobility is controlled severely. An African cannot leave the reserve without the permission of the Bantu Commissioner. He may leave the reserve provided he has an employment outside of the reserve in one of the cities or in one of the farms. When he gets to the place where he has been employed and for which he has got permission to leave the reserve, and in case he does not like the job that he has been offered, he is forced to comply with the terms of the contract. Mostly in the case of farming, the agricultural workers, they cannot leave the job that they have accepted. They cannot leave it without fulfilling completely the terms of contract. In case they leave before the contract expires, they are subject to fine and imprisonment. And after they serve the sentence, they are again to serve the same employer who had signed the contract of employment with them. The condition as regards the right of education is unbelievable. As you know, in South Africa, in Southwest Africa, and in Southern Rhodesia, there are separate schools for various race groups. The standards are very low. The Africans are not really, the education that they are receiving, whatever they are receiving, is mostly that which was should have been given maybe or would have been given 200 years ago, 150 years ago. They are not being prepared at all for modern life. There aren't training schools to train labor, African labor. Therefore, when you see the wage differences between the Africans, Europeans, and mostly Africans, Asians, and Europeans, you see that the African performing the same job gets 1/6 of the salary that his European counterpart gets. The condition of housing is deplorable in reserves as well as in urban areas where the Africans have been brought for the purposes of serving the industry. The removal, government takes actions, arbitrary actions against the African population. Just recently, as I was saying, as an instance of conditions to which the African population, more so than the Asians, is subjected to, I may recall that very recently the government decided to remove 12,000 Africans from NATO to relocate them in Lime Hill. These individuals were forced to leave their homes that they had occupied for generations in certain cases. The condition is deplorable.
Sir, there have been numerous resolutions by the General Assembly as well as the Security Council. There is a permanent committee at the UN investigating the situation in Southern Africa. What more can this conference do to help improve the lot of the population in Southern Africa?
Unfortunately, I think that the public opinion in general throughout the world does not understand what apartheid means and what condition of life it portrays. If the public opinion were to be brought to understand what the situation is, how deplorable it is, how inhuman it is, I'm certain that public opinion, mostly in the Western countries, will bring pressure to bear on governments who could be instrumental in bringing some kind of pressure, effective pressure, on the South African government to desist from this kind of policy.
Thank you very much.